These NFL players want their money, and they want their money now.
It's my money and I need it now!
Let's go over every official NFL training camp holdout this year, starting with the San Francisco 49ers. And the 49ers have two huge problems on their hands. First of all, Brandon Aiyuk, their star wide receiver. This has been going on all offseason. Since literally the day after the Super Bowl, Brandon Aiyuk and the 49ers have been going at it. And it's been really weird. Brandon Aiyuk's family and friends were all tweeting that was it. That's a wrap. Brandon Aiyuk is out of San Francisco. Now, obviously, this is the last year on the wide receiver's contract. Wide receivers want to get paid a year in advance. So everyone assumed that maybe that the 49ers had already informed Aiyuk that they were not interested in an extension, and that soon news is probably going to break that Brandon Aiyuk wants to be traded. Brandon Aiyuk continued to post cryptic messages all over social media, but it didn't make a single difference. Eventually, the 49ers said they want Brandon Aiyuk to come back. Brandon Aiyuk said that he wants to come back, but they just can't reach an agreement on a deal. And we went back and forth throughout this whole offseason to a point that Brandon Aiyuk even started hanging out with other quarterbacks, such as his old college teammate Jaden Daniels, who's now the quarterback of the Washington Commanders. Eventually, Brandon Aiyuk looked to have given up. He officially requested a trade from the team, but the 49ers denied him a trade request. So training camp has kicked off. Brandon Aiyuk doesn't have a contract. He showed up to practice to avoid the fine, but he is not practicing to start off 49ers camp. And then out of nowhere the other day, another massive problem showed up on the 49ers plate, because now their all-pro superstar left tackle Trent Williams is holding out too. Christian McCaffrey got a pay raise this offseason. Brandon Aiyuk is looking for his contract, his big money deal. Brock Purdy is looking to make north of $60 million next offseason, and now Trent Williams is saying, give me my money as well. And this is a much bigger deal than losing Brandon Aiyuk. For one, Aiyuk will probably play on a one-year deal or the franchise tag at the end of all of this. It would be stupid for him to sit out the entire season. Trent Williams has already held out in seasons past with the Washington Redskins back in the day, and has shown that he doesn't care. He'll take a whole year off of football if that's what he has to do to get his money. Trent Williams is also a much richer person. He is much less desperate to get paid. Therefore, your ability to negotiate with them, not so much. He also understands that the 49ers' backs are against the wall with the left tackle position. Trent Williams is their only option. And if they don't have Trent Williams, it is catastrophic to their season. Compared to losing Brandon Aiyuk, you still have Deebo Samuel, Ricky Pearsall, George Kittle to contribute, Juwan Jennings, and others. Lose Trent Williams and your season's toast before it even starts. So they have to extend Trent Williams. Me personally, I'll be finding a way to extend both. Push the chips in, go over the cap, deal with cap hell in the future for one shot at a championship right now. I know you got to find a way to sign your quarterback next offseason. I'd much rather lose a Deebo Samuel in a year or two. I'd much rather lose a George Kittle in a year or two. I know he wants to go play for Chicago. I'd rather lose a few of these DBs, maybe a safety here or a linebacker there in a few years, than to flush the opportunity that the team on the field, the roster that the 49ers have at this very moment. I'd trade the opportunity to win this year's Super Bowl for those future years anyways. And nothing's guaranteed in the future. Anything can happen. Maybe you catch a break. Maybe the cap raises way more than you expected. What it seems like the 49ers are probably going to do, let Brandon Aiyuk's contract expire, and then he's going to be gone or franchise tagged and then traded, and probably re-sign Trent Williams and make him the highest paid left tackle in football again. Now we're going to go to Dallas and talk about the CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, and Dak Prescott training camp scenarios. But first, one reminder to like the video. It's the free way that you can support my content and send this video out to the algorithm to more NFL fans like me and you. Please help your boy out. We just passed 10,000 subscribers, and now we're on the road to 15,000 subscribers. All right, on to them Dallas Cowboys. Parsons needs a new deal, but he's at practice. Dak Prescott's contract is expiring. He showed up to practice as well. These two are the leaders of the offense and the defense. They need to be there. But CeeDee Lamb, he said, I'll pass. CeeDee Lamb is not at Dallas Cowboys training camp in Oxnard, California as we speak. In fact, CeeDee Lamb is not in the state of California as we speak. He's officially holding out from NFL training camp and will not be practicing with the Dallas Cowboys until he receives a new deal. I assume CeeDee Lamb wants to break the market, the record that Justin Jefferson just set this offseason as well. They are wide receivers in the same draft class. CeeDee Lamb has done more than enough to deserve that deal. Problem the Cowboys have is, like with what I just mentioned, that they got some superstar key players that need contracts as well. And right now, the Dallas Cowboys cap space is next to zero. So I don't know how they're going to make this happen. happen, the best way forward from the outside looking in, probably to either let Dak Prescott walk or franchise tag him and trade him, just like I was saying with Brandon Aiyuk, and extend CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons. These are cornerstones of your franchise. These guys are young, entering the primes of their career. These are going to be your highest jersey sellers. Guys that put butts in seats at Jerry World. Guys that should be on this team for 10 to 15 plus years. You can't let them go over Dak Prescott, who's a middle of the pack quarterback in the NFL, maybe borderline top 10. But this year, the Cowboys, like the 49ers, should probably push the chips in. They're already thin at wide receiver. They're thin at running back, tight end, offensive line. You can see the Cowboys are going to have to kind of reset this roster anyways. Keep the guys that you need to build it around. Jordan Love is another guy who is at Packers training camp, but not practicing. And obviously, Green Bay will extend Jordan Love. It's just, what is this price going to be? Right now, it seems like a race to the first quarterback to break that $60 million per year mark. The Packers are in a tricky spot here with Jordan Love. He's shown flashes. He's shown potential to be a franchise quarterback in this league, and a very good one, a top 10 level player. But he has not shown it for a long period of time. We have not seen the consistency that we've seen with the other quarterbacks in his draft class, like Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. Both those guys already got their mega deals. Hell, we haven't even seen the consistency that we've seen Tua perform at over the last couple years since they got Tyreek Hill. This is why the Packers should have moved on from Aaron Rodgers a year earlier. You sat him for 3 seasons? It ain't 2010 anymore. It ain't 2000. It ain't 1995, guys. 2 seasons was plenty. They should have had the confidence to go to Jordan Love, so that way now they would have the answers to the questions on Love. And it's a win-win scenario because the Packers would have the confidence to give him $60 million per year and Love would get $60 million per year. But instead, they're in this weird spot where how can we justify to pay you the number that Herbert and Burrow are getting before you've produced at the level that Herbert and Burrow have for multiple years in a row? Packers and Love can come somewhere in the middle, and Love is making $50 million or so per year instead of 60. Speaking of the 2020 QB draft class, Tua Tagovailoa is another guy who's at practice but not practicing and holding out. Editor Mike here. Since the recording of that video, Jordan Love has signed his contract. Yay! Jordan Love is now the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. We'll see how this works out. All right, back to the video. Unlike Jordan Love, I feel like the Dolphins know exactly what Tua is. He's going to be a solid starter for your team at all times. He's been very consistent, a very accurate player. There's been a few times where Tua's went off the rails and lost his accuracy out of nowhere and struggled to bomb the ball deep down the field. But ever since they got Tyreek Hill, some of those questions have been put to bed, and he has shown that he can operate one of the highest scoring offenses in the league. Thing is, Tua has an opportunity here to really help out the Dolphins, because I say all of that great stuff about Tua to also bring up the fact that if he lost Tyreek Hill, lost Jalen Waddle, lost some of these weapons, didn't have the Mike McDaniel offensive scheme that's kind of taken over, it could get ugly really quick. So is Tua aware of that? He is the most important position on the field, but he is not the most important player on the field. And similarly to Brock Purdy in San Francisco, will Tua take a discount and help the Dolphins keep the team stacked? And when I say a discount, I'm talking still like $50 million per year. But when we look down into the future, when we look down the scope of QB contracts down the timeline, it's looking more and more like we are going to get to a point that quarterbacks are making $70 million a year. So 45 would be a huge discount if Tua was willing to do that for the Fins. Hold up, Editor Mike here again, because Tua time is officially here. Tua has signed his extension with the Miami Dolphins also. And like I was predicting, Tua did not break the bank. At least he did not break the record and did not become the highest paid quarterback in NFL history like Jordan Love did. That's interesting. Even though it's only a couple $1 million, over some time, that may add up and give the Miami Dolphins some kind of relief, especially with where the market's heading, like I was just saying in the video. All right. Back to the video again. Someone who has not shown up to camp at all is the Jets' new pass rusher, Haason Reddick. And what the hell is going on here? They traded for Haason Reddick. You'd think they'd be willing to pay up if you're willing to pay up draft picks to acquire an edge rusher. And this guy really completes the Jets' defense. We're talking about probably the best secondary in football with this pass rush. Maybe Haason Reddick wants too much. I'm not all on his side here, because you can't be asking for all that money but be giving the team the silent treatment. You're posting up on Twitter that you're in Japan going for a little stroll through Tokyo. Nothing wrong with traveling, especially if you're in an active holdout. Why are you posting stuff like this, almost throwing throwing it in your teammates' faces. You want to be one of the highest paid edge rushers in the NFL? You need to be a perfect athlete game in, game out. You need to show up to every practice. You need to be a leader on the football team. All of that stuff is a part of being one of the best edge rushers in the NFL and the highest paid. I'm not on either side here because I feel like the Jets should have already had this deal done when they traded for him. I also don't think that Haason Reddick is handling this well. Comment your thoughts on every NFL training camp holdout going down right now. Will these guys get back out on the practice field with new deals and a lot of money in their account? I guess sooner rather than later. The ball definitely won't lie.
Bill Flames, I'm with Mike on the mic. With something brand new, one time for your mind. He gave you fair warning. Now it's time to smack him in the mouth with that raw sports talk from the town. Sweet chin music to your favorite shows.